Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting the same kind of toxic relationships, even when you try to avoid them? The answer lies in something deeper than bad luck or poor choices. It's rooted in your emotional wounds. According to Carl Jung, the parts of ourselves that we suppress, deny, or refuse to acknowledge don't just disappear. Instead, they operate from the shadows, shaping our behaviors, decisions, and most importantly, the people we attract into our lives. Unresolved wounds act like an invisible magnet, pulling us toward experiences that mirror our deepest fears and insecurities. If you grew up feeling unworthy of love, you might unconsciously seek out relationships that reinforce that belief. Partners who neglect you, disrespect you, or make you feel insignificant. If you have a fear of abandonment, you may attract emotionally unavailable people or those who leave when you need them the most. It's as if your subconscious mind is replaying the same painful story, hoping for a different ending. This happens because our minds crave familiarity, even when it hurts. If chaos, neglect, or rejection were present in your early experiences, your nervous system may have been wired to associate those patterns with love. As a result, when someone treats you with kindness and stability, it might feel uncomfortable, even boring. Meanwhile, a person who triggers your old wounds may feel irresistibly exciting, but that attraction is Jung described this as the process of projection. What we have not healed within ourselves, we see reflected in the people around us. If we carry unresolved anger, we may attract partners who provoke it. If we struggle with self-worth, we may find ourselves in relationships where we have to constantly prove our value. These patterns don't emerge because we consciously choose them, but because they feel familiar and, on a subconscious level, safe. But this safety is an illusion. The truth is, unless we become aware of our wounds, they will continue to choose for us. We may think we are making rational decisions, but in reality, our unhealed pain is leading the way. That's why people often say, "I don't know why I keep falling for the wrong person." It's not about the person. It's about what they represent in your unconscious mind. So, what can you do about it? The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to patterns in your relationships. Do you always feel unheard? Do you constantly seek validation? Do you attract partners who drain you emotionally? These are not coincidences. They are clues. Your relationships are revealing the wounds that need healing. Recognizing the magnet of your unhealed emotions is the beginning of transformation. Once you see the pattern, you gain the power to break free from it. Instead of being drawn to what is familiar, you can consciously choose something healthier. Healing is not about avoiding relationships. It's about changing the relationship you have with yourself first. And when that changes, the people you attract will change too. It's a painful truth that the very things we fear in relationships often seem to find us, no matter how hard we try to avoid them. If you're afraid of being abandoned, you may repeatedly attract partners who leave. If you fear rejection, you might end up in relationships where you feel unwanted. This is not a coincidence. It's a subconscious pattern at play. Carl Jung explained that what remains unresolved within us is projected onto our external world, shaping our experiences without us even realizing it. Your relationships act as a mirror, reflecting your deepest wounds and fears back at you. If you struggle with feelings of unworthiness, you may attract partners who fail to appreciate your value. If you have a fear of betrayal, you might find yourself drawn to people who are dishonest or unfaithful. This doesn't mean you consciously choose to suffer. Rather, your unconscious mind is seeking to recreate familiar situations, not to hurt you, but in an attempt to resolve what was left open in the past. This process is not about punishment. It's about awareness. The mind repeats what it doesn't understand, hoping to finally make sense of it. If, as a child, you felt unseen or unimportant, your subconscious might push you toward relationships that reinforce those same emotions. Deep down, there is a hope that this time it will be different, that you will finally receive the validation, love, or security you lacked. But unless healing occurs, the pattern keeps repeating, leading to the same painful outcomes. One of the most deceptive aspects of this dynamic is that it often feels like destiny. People say, "I always attract emotionally unavailable partners," or "I keep ending up in relationships where I'm not prioritized." The truth is, it's not fate. It's an unhealed part of yourself choosing familiar pain over unfamiliar peace. Healthy love may feel foreign, even uncomfortable at first, because it doesn't match the emotional blueprint your past created. Breaking this cycle requires deep self-reflection. Instead of asking, "Why does this keep happening to me?" ask, "What is this relationship trying to teach me?" Every painful pattern holds a message about something within you that needs attention. Are you neglecting your own needs? Are you seeking validation from external sources instead of within yourself? Are you afraid to set boundaries because you fear being abandoned? These are the real questions that lead to change. When you start recognizing these patterns, you gain the power to shift them. The first step is self-awareness, seeing how your fears shape your choices. The second step is self-compassion, understanding that these patterns formed as a survival mechanism, not as a flaw. And the final step is conscious action, choosing to break the cycle by embracing relationships that support your growth, not your wounds. You do not have to relive your past over and over. You have the power to rewrite your story. The moment you stop seeking healing through others and start healing within yourself, you will no longer attract relationships that reflect your pain. You will attract relationships that reflect your wholeness. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This is exactly what happens when unresolved wounds control your relationships without you realizing it. The past isn't just something you leave behind. It lives within you, shaping your emotions, behaviors, and the people you attract. If you've ever found yourself stuck in the same painful relationship patterns, unable to break free, it's likely because your shadow, the hidden part of your psyche, is running the show. Your shadow consists of everything you've suppressed, denied, or been conditioned to believe is unacceptable about yourself. Maybe you were taught that expressing emotions is weak, so you push your feelings down. Maybe you grew up believing love has to be earned, so you chase people who make you prove your worth. These subconscious beliefs don't just influence how you see yourself, they dictate the relationships you create. One of the most dangerous ways the shadow operates is through self-sabotage. Have you ever met someone who treated you well, but you felt uneasy or even pushed them away? That discomfort isn't about them, it's about you. When healthy love doesn't match your internal programming, your mind sees it as unfamiliar and therefore unsafe. Meanwhile, when someone triggers your old wounds by being emotionally unavailable, critical, or unpredictable, it feels oddly comfortable. That's because your nervous system is wired to recognize chaos, not stability. The shadow also plays a role in how we seek love. If deep down you believe you're unworthy of happiness, you may unconsciously attract people who reinforce that belief. If you carry a fear of abandonment, you might cling to relationships that aren't fulfilling, simply because the idea of being alone feels worse than staying in a toxic situation. These patterns feel automatic because they are. Your unconscious mind is always working, shaping your reality based on the past. But here's the truth. Just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's right for you. The patterns you repeat are not your destiny. They are simply the result of unexamined wounds. The first step to breaking free is identifying what your shadow is trying to tell you. Ask yourself, do I fear love that comes too easily? Do I feel unworthy when I'm not proving my value? Do I sabotage relationships when they feel too stable? Once you recognize these behaviors, you can start challenging them. Healing your shadow isn't about rejecting it. It's about integrating it. That means acknowledging your past, understanding how it shaped you, and consciously choosing a different path. You are not meant to spend your life repeating old wounds. When you bring awareness to your patterns, you regain control over your choices. Your past may have influenced you, but it does not have to define you. The moment you start healing within, your relationships will shift. Love will no longer be a place of struggle. It will become a space of growth, connection, and true fulfillment. Breaking free from toxic relationship patterns isn't about avoiding love. It's about transforming the way you experience it. If your past wounds have been shaping your choices, the only way to attract a different kind of relationship is to heal from within. Carl Jung believed that true change happens when we integrate the parts of ourselves we've ignored, denied, or buried in the unconscious. Healing is not about finding the perfect partner. It's about becoming the version of yourself that no longer seeks love from a place of fear, insecurity, or lack. The first step in this process is awareness. You cannot change what you don't. Acknowledge. Start by reflecting on your past relationships. What patterns do you see? Do you constantly find yourself in one-sided relationships? Do you attract emotionally unavailable partners? Do you feel like you have to earn love? These are not coincidences. They are reflections of deeper beliefs that have been guiding your choices. Instead of blaming external factors, look inward. Your relationships are revealing what still needs healing. The second step is self-acceptance. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that they need to fix themselves before they can be loved. But healing is not about becoming perfect. It's about embracing all parts of yourself, including the wounded ones. The more you deny your emotions, the stronger they control you from the shadows. Instead of suppressing your fears and insecurities, sit with them. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it really true? Often, the fears that dictate your relationships were never yours to begin with. They were passed down through childhood experiences, societal expectations, or past heartbreaks. Once you recognize that, you can start releasing them. The third step is rewiring your emotional patterns. Your nervous system has been conditioned to seek what is familiar, even when it hurts. This is why healthy relationships might feel uncomfortable at first. If you are used to chaos, stability may seem boring. If you are used to proving your worth, unconditional love might feel foreign. But discomfort doesn't mean danger. It means growth. The key is to sit with that discomfort and choose differently. When someone treats you with kindness, don't push them away. When a relationship feels secure, don't sabotage it. Teach yourself to accept the love you truly deserve. The final step is setting new standards. Once you understand your patterns, you must make a conscious decision to no longer settle for relationships that trigger your wounds instead of helping you heal. This doesn't mean you'll never face challenges in love. It means you'll handle them differently. You'll recognize red flags before you get attached. You'll set boundaries without fear. You'll stop chasing people who make you feel unworthy and start attracting those who reflect your growth. Healing is not about waiting for the right person to save you. It's about becoming the person who no longer needs saving. When you do the inner work, your relationships transform. You will no longer attract love that mirrors your pain. You will attract love that reflects your wholeness. Healing your emotional wounds is not just about understanding your past. It's about making conscious choices that lead to a different future. Awareness alone is not enough. Real transformation happens when you actively break the cycle and choose relationships that reflect your growth rather than your old wounds. But this is where most people struggle. Even after recognizing toxic patterns, it's easy to fall back into familiar habits. Why? Because healing requires discomfort, and the mind resists change, even when that change is good for us. Breaking the cycle starts with taking full responsibility for your choices. This doesn't mean blaming yourself for past mistakes. It means recognizing that you have the power to shape your future. Many people feel stuck in toxic relationships because they believe love is something that happens to them rather than something they have control over. But the truth is, every relationship, You enter is a choice. When you stop seeing yourself as a victim of love and start seeing yourself as an active participant, everything shifts. The next step is changing your standards, not just your desires. Wanting a healthy relationship is not enough. You must be willing to walk away from anything that doesn't align with it. This means saying no to partners who make you feel small, no to relationships that drain you, and no to situationships that leave you confused and insecure. Many people repeat toxic patterns because they are afraid to be alone, but the willingness to be alone, rather than settle for less, is the foundation of true self-worth. Another crucial part of breaking the cycle is learning to regulate your emotions. If you've been conditioned to associate love with emotional highs and lows, a stable relationship might feel unnatural at first. Your nervous system may crave the intensity of toxic dynamics because they feel familiar. This is why many people mistake chaos for passion and peace for boredom. The key is to recognize this pattern and rewire your emotional responses. Healthy love is not about constant intensity, it's about security, mutual respect, and emotional safety. Healing also requires building a strong sense of self. Many people lose themselves in relationships, defining their worth based on how much they are loved by another person. But when your sense of identity comes from within, you stop seeking external validation. This doesn't mean you don't want love. It means you don't need unhealthy love to feel complete. A strong self-identity allows you to attract partners who respect you rather than those who take advantage of your insecurities. Finally, breaking the cycle means embracing patience and self-compassion. Healing is not a straight path, and you might find yourself drawn to old patterns from time to time. The goal is not perfection, but progress. Every time you choose yourself, by setting a boundary, walking away from toxicity, or prioritizing self-love, you are rewriting your story. And when you consistently make these choices, you no longer attract relationships that mirror your wounds. Instead, you create relationships that reflect your healing, your strength, and your newfound sense of self-worth.